What up, you guys, and welcome back. WOLVSAid the engineer is here, and this is a brand new series. It's the SSTO season. So to start up with this series, we're gonna be building SSTO, a functional one for a change that doesn't crash normally. The goal of it is to build 3 types of airplane that's gonna go to orbit and come back in one piece in a single stage. So the first one we are going to build right now is a crew transport or a tourism transport. Let's head to the vehicle assembly building. Alright, so to start off with, we need a crew transfer airplane. So this one will be crew plane. The first thing we need for the crew plane is, of course, cockpit and crew capsule. So let's say, realistically speaking, we need around 4 people to move to space, if ever. So I'm gonna put 2 crew cabin and then build the whole airplane based on that. Let's get it rolling. So there goes our cargo plane. As you can tell, the center of the lift is way ahead of the center of the mass, especially when it's full. The capability of this airplane is 4 people, and it's going to be able to dock somewhere if we have a space station, or just to do a contract to show some stupid tourist space. Now the wings sort of on a minimum drag. It's a halfway delta wing. It's not the best delta wing, but it is a delta wing nevertheless. And I've kept it simple. This aileron has to give us yawing capability. These will provide us pitch, and these are roll, and these just extra. I've added a lot of reaction wheel. There is 4 RTG to provide us with electrical power, and the engine is the Raber engine CR7. Now, by all means, this is not a beginner tech airplane. This is more likely an advanced tech airplane, but it's just an example on how an SSTO should go, especially the simple one. Now let's give it a test flight. Okay, there we are on the runway. I've installed MacJib, although it's useless. We got Jebediah Kerman running this flight for us. The wheels is placed exactly behind the center of the mass, so once we reach 50 meters per second, we can pitch up. There we go. And as smooth as ever, it's pitching up. There is no way it's going to be able to take off, but it's a little bit jumpy. Now 120, and there we go. We are off. Now, and somehow the airplane is shaking a little bit, which means it needs more struts. Alright, there we go. So our optimum angle should be like 50 maybe? Alright, we're still accelerating forward. 14. Okay, we started losing speed, so I guess the optimum angle is 38. But we're actually still accelerating. Now, it's using right now is liquid fuel only. We added a tank of 800 as an extra fuel, which we probably wouldn't need, but just in case, as usual. This is 800 liquid fuel unit. As it seems, we have used 200 just for the takeoff. We might actually need extra fuel, but I kept it with oxidizer just in case, once again, so we can switch fuel on the way. The wing's a little bit shaky. I believe it also requires strut. We need to put struts here and on the wing. The reaction wheel has done a great job in keeping this plane very stable, up to now at least. We have reached 7 kilometers. I think it's a good time now to give MacJeb a little bit control. I hope he would not crush our airplane. Captain Jebediah Kerman, you have done us a great favor. Alright, now MacJeb in control. And MacJeb start shaking a little bit. We're reaching 300 delta V per second. I guess we'll have to go down to 5 degree and start our acceleration process. Okay, so we have reached 1000 meters per second delta V, and we spent almost the 800 extra fuel that we got. Time to switch to closed circle mode. So we are using now a rocket engine and accelerate toward our orbit. MacJeb kind of screwed things up a little bit earlier, so I had to turn it off and go manually. Our desired orbit is 100 kilometers. So we are accelerating toward our surface velocity, relative surface velocity, which is not the best. I think we should go with 0 angle and a 90-degree heading. As you can see, our heading is going a little bit to the left. We are almost out of fuel. Why? Okay, so apparently we did not use these. Now, luckily, I have TAC fuel balancer, so we can ask him to balance everything out for us. Remind me to add some fuel line in the airplane before the final design. Okay, there we go. Now the fuel is balanced. We got our fuel back. We actually reached more than 100. We are almost reaching 100 kilometer orbit, which by all means is gonna be critical because this has to go exactly at the desired orbit and it cannot push forward more. We have only 700 units of liquid fuel left. Let's see. Okay, so we have around 400 meters per second delta V. We are gaining altitude. We are also gaining speed. We almost achieved the orbit. We just need to push our orbit a little bit forward, a little bit higher. So let's see it roll in. There we go. 70, 80, 90, 103. Okay, let's skip forward and hope that Captain Jebediah Kerman wouldn't let me down once again. Otherwise, he's gonna get ejected out of the plane. Okay, so I'm gonna use MacJeb as usual to plant our circularization point. We have an orbit of 108 kilometers, which is 8 kilometers more than what you actually needed. We have still 400 delta V per second, which is more than enough to do the recalculation and go back to kerbin. And there goes MacJeb. Please do not screw things up. We do not want to kill Jebediah. Alright, so I'm guessing this is close enough. Let's put the stabilizers on. Now, assumingly you have a station to dock up with, you have still 400 delta V to dock with your station, return the crew, or send the crew up, or whatever reason you got. and then send this plane home. Now, since I don't have anything in orbit, this is a rather clean sandbox mode. We're going to send them back. Now, one of the best places to do the retroborn is exactly the opposite place you want to land. So I am here, and exactly opposite of me is the KSC. So full power ahead. We want to lose 400 delta V. Well, that was an overshoot. We will keep this fuel the future uses. Now I want to have a heading of 90 degrees. Once we hit the atmosphere, we will glide forward, probably use the remaining fuel to have a rather soft landing. And there we go. We entered the atmosphere. The plane is going a little bit nachos. Captain Jebediah is between excited and afraid. And at this point, I don't mind throwing him out of the plane. Okay, so now we're starting our re-entry. The re-entry has to be rather soft because we do have, in fact, an airplane which is able to glide. So I'm gonna go up to 35 degrees. There is no way this airplane is gonna stall. And that's because the center of the mass is way ahead the center of the lift. If you remember how I built it in the spaceplane hangar, the reason for that is exactly what we are doing right now. So we can have a high angle of attack for the re-entry. And as it seems, we will kill Jebediah Kerman because this was a pooched re-entry. This is a rather hard re-entry. I hope Captain Jebediah would make it. And he blew up. Well, at least we do still have the airplane. And I told you I'm gonna kill Jebediah Kerman. And we still keep the airplane in one piece. Now I'm rather happy with this re-entry. It should destroy any vehicle, but with this airplane it worked pretty much well. Now we are going down within less than 100 meters per second, which is rather good. I'm gonna time forward. Okay, we started gaining altitude. Go down, go down. And there we go. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. The gliding slope is, well, for this airplane should be like 2 or 3 degrees, but I'm gonna go at 5 degrees for now until we bleed enough speed to bring the airplane down. I hope we do have the landing gear. Yep, we indeed have the landing gear. Now, once we reach the airfield, the runway, Kerbal runway, we're gonna deploy and land in one piece without Jebediah Kerman, which bring me joy in somehow. Alright, there we are. We're coming in near the mountain. We still have an extra fuel to burn, and I want this to be a rather soft landing, so I'm gonna put the airplane in a zero angle pitching forward. I'm not entirely sure where the runway is, since we don't have Kerbal bases. But yet, it actually worked. Now the airplane's getting a little bit wobbly because we don't really have any struts. Okay, that's because of MacLeod actually, not the airplane itself. So we're going down 10 degrees. Okay, there we go. Now this is a very good gliding angle, so we can keep our speed. Whoa. Okay, now this is gonna take a while longer than expected, and it's rather harder than it is, as the airplane is getting a little bit wobbly. Thankfully, we do have an extra fuel because we did not dock with a orbital station or anything, so we can use it to gain some speed forward, maybe keep this airplane in one piece, and at the same time, of course, reduce our weight. I want to burn all the oxidizer we got. Okay, so apparently we run out of fuel now. Unfortunately, I don't have any other way of moving this aircraft, and given the chop re-entry we did, killing Jebediah Kerman, thankfully, it increased our drag, and since we landed shorter, or we're coming in shorter, I hope we will make it to the runway. Now I pointed the airplane in the direct position. We're gonna go down 10 degrees, which is a very good as a gliding angle. We are losing merely tenth of a meter per second or two. I'm guessing this gliding angle would give us 80 meters per second, but we are only at 4 kilometers up, so let's see how would this go. Okay, so apparently we are coming in hot. We will not reach the runway. We are around 2 kilometers ahead. And, well, I guess we will have to do a landing. Now the land is not exactly smooth here, but this airplane is capable of gliding very well. So I'm gonna land it manually actually. Oh my god, it's wibbling a lot, so I'm taking control of it. Come on. Come on. Alright, air brake on. Flare. Flare. There we go. Okay, well, it has a very good gliding slope. Flare. 50 meter. I guess we'll land at 40. Flare again. Let's kill the speed. Alright, 44 meter. Flare. Touchdown. Touchdown again. Oh my god, it's gonna strike the tail. Okay, we stopped. Alright, so apparently this is not the best way to build an airplane. And somehow now the weight is behind the wheels, so we have to bring the wheel a little bit backward, I guess. And, well, all in all, I am rather happy with the performance it did. I mean, we had a screwed up re-entry, we wasted a lot of fuel, and still we were capable of taking off and landing, well, mostly in one piece. Now let's head back to the VIB for some useful tips in building SSTOs. Alright, there we are in the VIB. I've just adjusted the wheels to be a little bit more behind the center of the mass, and I wanted to add more struts to this because, if you remember, things got a little bit edgy because the airplane was wobbling a little bit. I want to put these in the back in a cross selection so it will look nice. Symmetry mode, and there we go. Now, some useful tips for building an SSTO in regard for the re-entry, since was the biggest screw up in today's, well, in today's launch, let's call it. Make sure it's a gliding airplane like this one. This will have a gliding slope of 2 degrees pitching up. So when you do a re-entry, do it smoothly, do it at 50 kilometer, do it at 40 kilometer tops, so you can glide all the way, maybe 1 time or 2 times, skip the atmosphere, it doesn't matter, as long as you don't destroy your airplane, especially if it's, say, your beginner's airplane and stuff. In this design, I flied it okay, so we was able to achieve an orbit, but if ever you need an extra, you can just add decouplers on the side and add an extra fuel tank with a pipeline so you can throw them or drop them halfway to your flight. Granted, that would not be called an SSTO, but it would still work in a very cheap cost. You can just add a fuel tank with a parachute so you can recover it back. And another one, drag. During the flight, I've noticed these specifically. Now, this was the biggest screw up we have done today, so I'm gonna change that by adding a service model. I think we have some small cargo. No, service. All right, so we have a service bay here. We can add it then. Open it up. Well, actually, we need to add it here. We move the battery. We add the service bay, and then we can add the battery inside it. Matter of fact, we can even add 2 batteries inside it, but we need the RTG, so we can put the RTG inside it. 2 of them actually will be enough. So now we killed the drag, which was kind of screwing the airplane. 2 is more than enough. We killed the drag, and still we have all the components that we need. The center of the mass didn't move, therefore everything is okay. Another problem we faced in the flight was a fuel line, so I'm gonna add 2 fuel lines from here to here. Do not look ugly, please, do not look ugly. Actually, I've done a mistake. We need to turn symmetry on. There we go. And let's say this way. Okay, it's gonna look bad anyway. Here. So now this fuel tank is fueling the back fuel tank. Therefore, it will absorb the fuel from the front to the back. Therefore, the center of the mass will go back directly. And that's it. Now, this airplane does have more capability in terms of landing or takeoff. As you've seen, takeoff at a very low speed. It can flare easily. It has air brake just in case you wanted to slow down on the re-entry, which we did not use today. And that's it. Now, this is just the first part. In tomorrow's video, or hopefully I will make it tomorrow, we are gonna do another SSTO in the terms of MK2. Now, the MK2 is gonna be one of two, either a satellite delivery model or a cargo delivery model, or we can make it a fuel delivery model, which will fuel up any space station that we got. Now, as usual, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy today's video, although it was a little bit chubby. And if you did, don't forget to slap the like button. Until next time, stay tuned.